Alright, shut up. We're gonna start reacting to I Got My Stepmom Pregnant animation. For fuck's sakes.
My dad's a total jerk, and not even good looking. So how come he was able to marry Lexi?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a visual description of this man. He looks about 48 in a midlife crisis. His face is more wrinkly than an 85-year-old woman's cheek lines, and he literally looks like the antagonist in like any cringy child book story.
A stunning model who's been on the cover of Vogue.
I'll also do Lexi or whatever. She looks like that basic stock image for Roblox, but like real life person. On the cover of Vogue apparently, but she's not even that hot. All she has is big pupperoos, if you know what I mean.
He did several famous football players. Well,
Dot.
we live in South America, and my dad made lots of money taking backhanders. Yeah, he was a corrupt politician who was giving government contracts to whoever paid the biggest price.
This guy's a simp.
That's why we lived in an enormous mansion, even though his government salary was less than $50,000.
Okay. So if his government salary is less than $50,000, so obviously he's kind of corrupt and everything. Excuse me, but where are their urethras for their eyes? It's literally just black holes in an eye outline. I didn't know Venezuelans sounded this American.
You know all this? Well, my dad told me. He even tried to recruit me.
That's kind of fucked. She's like, hey son, I take poor people and I steal their money for fun. You want in on it? Sure, Pops.
Making lots of money. But I refuse.
Hell yeah, Dad.
Millions of people were living in poverty because of corrupt politicians
Whoa.
like him. Of course, he got angry and he...
Okay, so here's his angry face. It's him with like a pink, like, his mouth open is literally a pink square in the middle of his face. No. It's just a pink square in the middle of his face where his mouth should be, and his eyes have fire in them. And oh yeah, this time they have white backgrounds instead of just skin color.
Be grateful for everything he'd bought for me.
Gucci.
I didn't care though, and the real victim was Lexi anyway. After she got married to my dad, he treated her.
He's angry.
He'd make her dress in revealing maid costumes.
Okay. So basically, when he said he made her dress in revealing maid costumes, they covered up more than her normal outfits. Maybe he was just trying to keep Christian. Maybe you're being too hard on him. Maybe you just want to fuck your stepmom.
He seemed to get a kick out of having power over her. Okay, maybe.
Okay, and then in this image, it shows him chuckling with the girl on a leash. Fuck me. That's what it fuck's sakes. I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Deserved it.
That's why we need a Discord.
Married Dad for his money, but she always seemed so sad. One day, I found Lexi crying. I asked what was wrong, and she told me my dad had screamed at her for hours and said he'd kick her out if she annoyed him again.
Hours.
I said I was sorry for how my dad was treating her, but suddenly she pushed me back, straddled me, and started kissing me.
Alright, so this is about the time in the video that we call Jesus. Anyone got on like hot time or like hot speed dial or whatever? Jesus Christ. And she literally just hopped on my man, and it's like, oh, fuck me. I don't even want to explain.
She whispered, "Show me how a real man treats a woman."
You know, I also like how he gives us that realism. It's like, she whispered and he went, "Show me how a real woman treats show me how a real man treats a woman." That's just good sportsmanship.
I should have walked away, but I was only 18.
So the excuse for fucking my stepmom is I was only 18. Yeah, I know I should have walked away instead of touching my stepmom in weird, provocative places, but I was only 18, guys. I got her pregnant, but guys, I was just 18. Take it easy.
This model come on to me was the best thing that had ever happened to me. As we were making out, I heard my dad walking towards the room. Lexi.
He has like kiss things all over his mouth, like JPEG images.
me I had lipstick all over my face. I panicked and jumped behind the couch to hide.
So, shut up. So, Lexi basically, who straddled this 18-year-old, he was probably 16, but he said he's 18 so she doesn't go to jail. Anyways, so this grown woman who's afraid of her husband and getting beat or kicked out, same thing with the kid, simply laughs and says, ha ha ha, you have lipstick all over your face. I'm not going to give you an escape plan or try to cover this up anyway, just ha ha. I honestly started to think that this dad is a good guy. Like, oh yeah, now she's starting to sweat, and like you can still see his head like poking out over the couch too. Fucking. It's my fucking wife. His stepmother. This is like. You know what this is? This is Hansel and Gretel going wrong, going sexual in the hood at 3 a.m. Alright, let's continue.
Dad came in and sat next to Lexi, saying, I've got a business trip this weekend. There'll be plenty of
That's when they're gonna fuck.
around to keep an eye on you, and they'll notify me if you try to go anywhere.
That's gonna fucked up.
You don't make another mistake. Now give me a kiss.
So he's basically enslaved this woman. If you try to leave the house, my security team will gun you down in seconds. Don't try it. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, so you got this child over here who's having intercourse with his stepmother. And then then the father who's literally enslaved this woman. Who is worse? Yeah, the security guards are just trying to keep it Christian. So if she runs, she's gonna get gunned down. One of the security guards honestly looked like Goku. Alright, let's... Very much. Alright, let's keep watching.
Oh, I wanted to throw up. Was my dad kissing the same woman I'd made out with 2 minutes earlier?
Oh my god! The only thought in this man's head is my dad really making out with that girl that I made out with 2 minutes earlier? That's his only thought in his head. Not like, damn, he's really treating her wrong. Maybe I should confront him on this. No, is my dad really making out with the girl I just made out with 2 minutes ago, aka my stepmom? Dude, his face is like this face right here is the most high quality thing in the video. Except his lips aren't even textured. And he's missing a tooth. Alright. Alright. Let's continue.
Gross. But after
Gross!
Lexi and I started kissing again. It was...
So my man's like 18, okay, whatever. I get that. That's barely passable. But he doesn't even get turned off by the fact that his father just made out with this woman. So his father's saliva is like all in there, and probably his dick and cum remnants too, if you really think about it. So like my man's just straight up Frenching this woman now. His excuse Barely legal, probably. His birthday is probably tomorrow. He's probably just 17 now. Let's continue.
Such a rush because I knew it was wrong. And I never even held a girl's hand before, and now it was making out with a supermodel. You'd have done...
I knew it was wrong, but I still made out with my stepmom, not gonna lie. This is his thought process. Yeah, no, yeah, nah, yeah. That was his thought process through this, probably. He was like, yeah. Yeah, this is right. This is just right.
The same if you were me. Of course.
No, I wouldn't. I would not do the same if I were you. Bro. Okay, so Susan, except for the security guards, because those are good guys. They're just trying to do a job. Anyways. Okay, Susan, I have a question for you. So I can't say the fuck word on my channel, but this can exist on YouTube. Alright, let's continue.
Kill us. But I couldn't keep my hands off Lexi.
Oh, good God. This is just like the most unholy shit I've ever even seen. I just couldn't keep my hands off my stepmom. Her nice body. This is like Pornhub in real life. This is the type of stuff waifus use VR for. Let's continue.
Our affair went on for months.
Months! Not just like a day, not just a one-time thing. No, months.
Goddamn months. Okay, when I was like littler, I thought
Littler?
months.
Fucking littler? Wild. Alright, let's continue. This is fucking cursed.
Whenever Dad went out, Lexi and I hooked up. Even though she was older than...
Like, this man needs to be smited by Cthulhu himself. Like, this is just fucking terrible. Yes, he does. Every time my dad went to the grocery store or to pick up some vitamins, I fucked my stepmom. Alright, let's continue.
We fell in love. I gave her the kindness and affection my dad wouldn't. But then, Lexi fell pregnant. There was...
Oh my God. Oh my God. I treated her with the love and affection she deserved, but then she got pregnant. Oh my God. Okay, let's continue.
Doubt I was the father because it happened during one of my dad's business trips. Of course, we didn't tell my dad. He thought the baby was his. But after my daughter, Haley, was born...
My brain cells and my holiness is like automatically dying from watching like 2 seconds. My brain cells are melted into oblivion. They don't exist anymore. Let's continue.
My dad became even more of an ass. He told Lexi...
It's not like you fucked your stepmom and had a child with her or anything, you know.
She was fat and threatened to give Haley away if she continued screaming. Even though she was just a...
What?
My sister's name is Lexi.
Wait, okay. So he doesn't know that the stepmom and his son, his blood-related son, had intercourse and had a baby. And now he's being even meaner, calling her fat. And you know what this editor did? You know what this beautiful, unholy man did? So Lexi has this child in her arms, and whenever she basically cradles it, her boobs bounce up and down. I'm not surprised. Let's just continue.
Baby. Lexi and I thought about running away, but we didn't have the money. And my dad would have found us anyway. The only way we'd be free was if my dad died or went to jail.
This sounds like the starting to a bad murder love story, like one of those really trashy ones that you read about or watch movies on. Or like Natural Born Killers, there's like a really trash movie and they have children and get away from the police together and it's like really cringy. That's this. They're gonna like stab him, burn down the house, take all the money they need, and then like have intercourse every day. I mean, that's just the way God intended it. Do you think God came back to Earth, watched this video, and left?
I think, like, Jesus came back to Earth for, like, 2 seconds. He saw people making this shit.
Jesus was about to re-resurrect himself, and then he saw this.
And then he shot himself in the head.
Alright, let's sadly continue, because we're only 3 minutes in, and it's a 10-minute video. I don't fucking know, and I don't care. Let's continue.
So, I came up with a plan. I told my dad I'd changed my mind about helping with his business deals. He was so happy. He said he'd never been prouder of me. Over the next few weeks, I went with him on business meetings with various companies. It was shocking how open they were about bribing my dad and how much money they were going to make. They wouldn't have been so open if they'd known that I'd planted hidden microphones in Dad's office.
What a sneaky little bastard. What a cheeky little cunt. Yo, what a fucking snitch, mate. Honestly, I'm starting to feel bad for the dad because both the son and the wife are like terrible human beings.
Honestly, I can't tell who's
No, because think about it. The stepmom fucked the minor, and the minor fucked her back, right? His stepmother, right? The dad's just making a living off of beating homeless people into submission. I think the other ones are worse. Alright. Let's continue. At least the homeless people don't have to experience this in their lives. Alright, let's continue. We're gonna watch up until like, oh, my headphones keep popping out, I swear to God, like his child. Alright, anyways. So we're gonna watch up until the 6-minute mark. No stopping.
Recording every word they said.
I don't think I can
After
do
a
it.
few months, I had enough evidence to send my dad to prison for the rest of his life. But I had an even better idea. I decided to blackmail him. That was the hardest conversation of my life. I'll never forget my dad's face when I told him, "She's not your child."
I had to. I fucking had to pause it. I had to. She's not your child.
I just threw up in my saxophone case.
Let's just continue.
He said, "What?" I said, "Haley, she's not yours. I got Lexi pregnant while you were away on a business trip." My dad laughed. That's the best joke I've heard in a while. But I just glared at him and said, Haley's mine. Lexi and I are leaving today and taking her with us. We won't let our daughter grow up around a monster. That's when Dad realized I was telling the truth. He shoved me up against the wall and snarled.
He shoved me up against his wall and shoved his dick in my mouth, but I couldn't end it because I was only 18.
Could sleep with my wife and I'll just let you go? I pushed him back and said, you treat your wife and my daughter like servants, and we're not putting up with it. I've got
Holy shit, I've seen that screenshot somewhere before. Anyways, let's just continue.
Hours of recordings which prove you've been taking bribes. If something should happen to me or my family, one of my friends will send them to every single journalist in this country, as well as the cops, and you'll go to prison for the rest of your life.
So, his idea of a prison suit is a orange jumpsuit with a big P on the front of it.
My idea of a prison suit is the electric chair.
That's what this entire family deserves, except for the child, because that poor child got born into, like, an incest family, and I feel bad for it.
It's mom. No.
Are you trying to justify this?
No! I'm not justifying it.
It's still incest! She's in the family!
Yeah,
That's like saying fucking your third cousin is a fine thing to do.
it's not.
Exactly! Let's just continue.
This went red.
Like Animal
He was-
Crossing before this. But then I realized my villagers don't need to hear this shit.
So angry, he punched a hole into the wall. But he knew he couldn't touch me. An hour later, Lexi, Haley, and I left my dad's house. We took his favorite car and 50,000.
Okay, so the car that can fit an entire family of 3 is a one-seater car.
One-seater car.
I meant 2-seater.
Dude,
Yeah.
let me see. So, the child would have to be on, like, the father's lap or the mom's. Some person has to drive, like, one of those two. Why the fuck would you steal a two-seater car?
Yeah, I mean, unless Lexi's just gonna hold that child or whatever, or if she's like gonna just throw her out the window as they drive just so they don't have to pay child support or something. I don't know, but their strategy is not that good because they only took $50,000 when you could probably take $1 million and be set for life. Especially in a third world country. Alright, let's continue watching.
$1,000 and moved into a hotel. I thought,
What the fuck? We moved into a hotel, not an apartment, an hotel, guys.
A fucking hotel. You wanna know how many days you have to spend in there?
Dude, and the rooms are probably shit, cause it's Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Oh, fuck.
God. Dude. I saw this shitty apartment once. Okay, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. So I used to live in a shitty apartment. And, you wanna know something? There was no air conditioning. So in the summer months, I was sweating. Always have like this fucking comforter that I sleep with. I was fucking, I was about to die of suffocation. God.
Alright, let's continue watching the video.
her out if she annoyed
Wait,
him
what?
again.
Okay,
kept-
the entire video
what she
just
would
reversed
said.
itself.
Cool. So, to a hotel.
Okay, here we go.
I thought we had plenty of money, but we didn't. Lexi was used to living in luxury, and she hated the cheap hotel we stayed in. After just 3 months, she'd spent all our money. She told me she couldn't survive like this, and said she'd find someone else if I couldn't give her everything she wanted.
Honestly,
Dude, just She is. She's not 100. All right, let's continue.
But how was I supposed to do that? I didn't have a job. I was barely out of high school. So, I went back to my dad and demanded $5 million.
$5 million?
Honestly, I'm starting to think the son is a crook now, not gonna lie.
The son is a goddamn pirate.
I knew he could afford it. He laughed in my face and said, "Oh, I knew you were just like me. Didn't you say you wanted to earn your money legally?" He was right. Maybe I wasn't any better than him, but I didn't care. I couldn't lose Lexi. I said, "I know you have the money. Give it to me." And my dad replied, "I'll give it to you tomorrow at noon, but you'll have to promise me you'll..."
I'll just shoot myself. Not even a pirate, because I don't think that's illegal. I mean, they're both doing stuff that's illegal technically, so.
That security guard is getting paid lies.
Let's just continue, because this is just... I want to get this over with.
"We'll never ask for money again." I said, "Deal. I promise." Wow, it had actually worked. Dad gave me the money, and I could buy everything Lexi wanted again. We moved to a better hotel, and we were happy for a while.
Why a hotel?
Hotel. You wanna know how fast that's gonna stack up?
Dude, just buy a house. If he would buy a house and like just full price, get his own well for water, he wouldn't have to pay water stuff. And if he got solar panels, guess what? He wouldn't have to pay electricity. So he'd be set for life, paying no money for that house if he just bought it in full. But no, he decides to live in a hotel.
Honestly, the son deserves to be shot, and the dad deserves to like get like a 50-year sentence.
Mhm.
I don't know what the. Okay, that doc deserves to be drowned in sulfuric acid.
But over the next few months, I began to see why Lexi had married my dad. She was incredibly shallow and only cared about money. Although she was still the hottest woman I knew, we had nothing in common, and she refused to act like a proper mom. One day, we had a big fight. I told her she was dressing like a tramp, and I didn't want her going out with Haley looking like that. She got really offended and said, "Do you think it's fun staying in all the time with a little boy like you?" That night, I slept on the couch, and when I woke up, the safe where we kept our money was gone, and so was Lexi. I was left with Haley, but no money to take care of her. I had no choice but to go back to my dad to get more money. But when I went to see him, he said, "You promised not to ask for more money." I said, "I don't care. Lexi stole everything from me. Just give me $1 million. That'll be enough for me. This really is the last time I'll ask you for anything." He warned, "This will have consequences." I didn't know what he meant, and I didn't care. He gave me the money, and I drove back to the hotel Haley and I lived in. But a few days later, when I went to Haley's kindergarten to pick her up,
She was missing.
only her mom and grandfather had picked her up already.
So you're telling me that the dad and Lexi are back together and they just kidnapped the child?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's continue.
My blood ran cold. A few minutes later, my cell beeped with a text from my dad. It read, "Come to my house. We need to talk."
Uh-oh.
I didn't want to go, but I had to make sure Haley was safe. When I arrived, Dad was holding my daughter in his lap. She was sleeping, and well.
What the fuck? The editor made it so you could see the little kid's panties.
He said, "So, my son, the tables have turned. I won't play your games anymore. Your daughter and Lexi will live far away from you. They'll be safe as long as you don't publish any of the recordings." I begged and pleaded. "Don't take my daughter. I want to live with her. I'll give you back the $1 million if you'll just let me be with her." But my dad said, "You're lucky she's still alive. And since I'm feeling generous, I'll let you see your daughter once a year." I looked at my sleeping child. She was so beautiful. I wanted to hold her tight and never let go, but I knew I had no choice. So, I went back to
Dude,
my...
just punch your dad in the throat and then stab him 18 times and then take your child.
No. Just stick his dick inside a furnace.
Or just tell your friends to release all the documents.
Dude, if I was the guy's friend, no. If I was like one of his friends, I would kill myself because what the fuck he did. I'm not living with this shit.
Fuck this.
Hotel. I realized I had $1 million and almost every freedom in the world. Life wasn't too bad, even though I missed Haley like crazy. That's why, over the next few months, I apologized over and over to my dad, hoping he'd change his mind. But he wouldn't. Since I didn't see Haley very often, she barely knew who I was when I visited her once a year. I took lots of photos of her while we were together, but she always looked sad and never called me dad.
Damn.
Seeing her like that broke my heart. She deserved better. I was desperate to do something, but since I couldn't use the recordings I had, I didn't know what. The more I thought about it, the only solution I could think of was if my dad died. Now, I'm not saying I planned his death.
He planned his
was
death.
always surrounded by bodyguards, guys who'd been in the army. I wouldn't stand a chance against them. But
So
one
just hire
day,
an
my
assassin.
dad was assassinated.
Oh, what the
Of course, it had nothing to do with me, but
Sure.
it solved all my problems. I got my daughter back and inherited all my dad's money. The only one who was left with nothing was Lexi. She came to see me and begged me to give her some money. I asked her, why should I give money to someone who stole from me? She replied, because your dad took all my money away from me, and I'm the mother of your child. Wow.
I'll smack her.
In the end, we agreed I'd pay her a small allowance as long...
Small.
Simp! Simp!
because Haley lived with me. I hate giving money to a selfish woman like her, but at least I have my daughter back, and that's all that matters to me.
How the hell did he get assassinated?
At like the exact time. Alright, let's go to this other one. Oh my god, what is this one?
This is a shocking.
Dad got my best friend pregnant. This poor woman.
I had dinner. I ate my dinner too fast. I'm still hungry. I'm gonna eat my entire bag of fucking Cheetos.
I'm eating crackers right now.
I'm eating Cheetos.
Story.
Alright, let's
I had
listen.
been friends with Maria for many years during high school. She was almost like a sister to me. We helped each other get over heartbreak.
Stepsister.
Technically, it's hello?
Don't speak, child. I don't have my headphones and my controller died.
Okay, just wondering.
Alright, let's continue. Fuck. Alright. Open piece of garbage. Okay. Oh, where's my headphones? There.
And defended each other against mean classmates.
Mean
But
classmate.
Maria had problems at home. She and her parents didn't get along, and on her 18th birthday, they kicked her out. That's why she...
Imagine your parents hating you that much. Oh, God.
Honestly, I have pretty good.
Well, my mom kicked me out when I was an infant, so I really can't complain.
asked me if she could move into my home for a few days. She was my best friend, so of course, I said yes. And for the next few weeks, my dad paid for all her meals and other expenses. You see, my parents had divorced several years earlier, after my dad had received a big promotion at work. Suddenly, he was making 3 times as much money as before, and it changed him.
Alright.
He started showing off by buying a nice new car, and unfortunately, he also got himself a side chick.
Oh.
When my mom found out about her, she immediately broke up with my dad. To this day, I haven't forgiven my dad for betraying my mom. But since then, he also became an even bigger jerk. So what happened next shouldn't have surprised me. I was gone for the weekend to attend a soccer tournament, and when I came back, my best friend Maria had a big smile on her face and said she needed to talk to me ASAP.
Big smile.
She said, "You won't believe what happened last night.
You won't
Dad and I
believe what
watched
happened
movies
last
together,
night.
And then we had a few drinks and got to know each other, and that's when it happened." I said, "When what happened?" And Maria said, "Well, we made out a bit and then we went a bit further. But I spare you the details. I mean, he is your dad." Okay, that wasn't just gross, it was dangerous. Because I knew that Maria had exploited her ex-boyfriends in the past. One time, she asked one of them to give her $1,000 so she could go to the dentist to have her tooth pulled out.
What dentist charges $1,000 for that? Let's just continue. Oh, okay, let's
Her
go.
boyfriend only had $500 in savings, so he sold his computer to give Maria the $1,000. But Maria never had a toothache and broke up with the guy the next week without giving him his money back. And I have many other stories where she cheated on her boyfriends. So of course, I didn't want her to date my dad, especially because she knew he had a lot of money. I mean, Maria was clearly a gold digger.
Hmm.
If your friend ever pricks your dad, that's when you start getting in the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, and then join the fucking army and shoot the bad.
And after her parents had kicked her out, she was probably on the lookout for financial security. And my dad was her target. Well, the next weekend, they officially announced to me that they were dating. And to celebrate their relationship, they drove...
No, hold on.
This shit is fake. It actually might be real.
There's a small chance that this is 100% real. Which scares me. Anyway, so I just wanted to say something. What do you do when your friend of basically like 12 years comes up to you and tells you that she's smashing your dad on the weekdays? And that she's your new stepmom? Let's continue.
in my dad's sports car from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to spend the weekend there. When Maria came back, she told me about all the things she had done with my dad, including losing $20,000 at a casino and renting a hotel suite for $2,500 per night.
Okay, but if your dad's like pulling in the millions, does that really matter? For him, that's like pocket change, you know? An orphanage that I burned down on accident. Let's continue.
She ended her story with, "I didn't know your dad has that much money. Oh my god."
Her first thing to say, "I didn't know your dad had that much money." And then the girl, "Oh my god!"
Dude, listen. She's a goddamn simpet.
Bro, he's a simp.
Simpet.
Let's continue.
She was such a gold digger. And that's why I went to my dad and told him how Maria only liked him for his money. But my dad responded, "Oh, sweetie, don't worry. Daddy got this." Yeah, sure.
Fuck no. What was that? It sounds like an 85-year-old grandpa trying to be hip. Don't worry, sweetie, daddy got this.
I kind of felt betrayed by Maria. I had brought her into my home for shelter, and now she was taking advantage of my idiotic dad. To make things worse, since they were officially dating, she acted like she had more rights than me. She even used my dad's sports car to drive around shopping. Of course, I was never allowed to drive that car. But now it was too late to kick her out. I knew my dad wouldn't allow it. But I still had hope. Because my dad is as much of a jerk as Maria, so it was only a matter of time until my dad would start mistreating her. But for the next few weeks, they continued dating and Maria was enjoying her new rich life. One day she came up to me all excited and said, "Guess what? Guess what? Your dad just had another promotion at work, and now he's the chief financial officer at his company, which means his salary doubled."
What a bitch.
Oh gosh, how could my
What a thought.
dad like this girl? She was so shallow and only cared about his money. It shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone when Maria...
At least she getting some pussy. At least he getting some pussy though.
Honestly, he's not a simp anymore. He's just an asshole.
This is prostitution, but like worse because you don't get sex all the time.
accidentally got pregnant 2 weeks later. My dad completely freaked out and screamed, "No, no, no, that can't be true." He was devastated because he knew he would have to pay child support for the next 18 years. I gotta be honest, my dad got what he deserved. But Maria deserved none of it. I had offered...
I kind of blame the dad for a lot of this, but still, if the dad's really that retarded, like, don't blame him. He may be autistic or something. You know? You're really crunching on those Cheetos, aren't you? Alright, let's continue.
her help, and in exchange she took advantage of my family and took our money. And after Maria got pregnant, she completely stopped seeing my 51-year-old dad. He was suddenly too old for her taste. That's why she somehow moved back in with her parents, and after the baby was born, she and my dad negotiated how much child support he had to pay. Of course, I was curious and asked my dad on what figure they had agreed on, but he refused to tell me, so I had to ask Maria over text. She immediately wrote back $14,000 per month. What? That was...
$14K per month. You can take that girl to court and, like, sue her because that's ridiculous. Actually, open up Skyrim. Like, that's, I'm pretty sure, illegal. So, like, mate, take that B to court.
More than twice the U.S. average salary. And all she had to do was take care of a baby? I was so mad at her. But it
So I stabbed her in the neck.
Apparently, Maria wasn't satisfied with the money she received. She tried to blackmail my dad. She said she would neglect the child unless he'd pay her $25,000 per month.
So we've already heard of there can only be one Hitler, one Satan, one demon. One of this bitch. I will abandon our child on the side of the street unless you pay me more money.
Well, there can only be one Putin. Actual good guy. Wait, is he?
Kind of, sometimes.
Yeah,
You know what? At least he doesn't frick his stepmom.
yeah. Wait a minute.
Well, let's just ignore that and just skip back to this terrible video.
But this time, my dad handled it right. He talked to Maria in a room and begged her not to extort him.
Oh my God! Stop, please.
He would suffer. But of course, my dad was filming the conversation with the begged her not to extort him. But she said very clearly that my dad either gave her the money or the baby would suffer. But of course, my dad was filming the conversation with a hidden camera.
Oh.
So it was easy for him to sue Maria afterward. And trust me, she got her justice. Not only did she go to prison for 1 month, but she also lost custody of her child. Which means my dad doesn't have to pay her child support anymore. Instead, my dad decided to pay me $10,000 a month to raise my half-sister.
Hold on. So basically, hold on, give me this context. Doesn't that mean the dad has to pay the girl has to pay child support now? Unless our judicial code is just really fricked up right now, because I feel like she has to pay child support now.
No, there's fucking, there's Cheeto dust in my face and stuck in my goddamn teeth.
Let's just continue watching.
He is too busy working. But I'm also busy going to college.
Oh, fuck.
So I hired a maid, and now I'm paying her $3,000 per month to take care of my half-sister during the day so I can get a college.
Imagine being that poor to, like, accept a job getting paid $3,000 a month. I'm kidding, that's actually a good salary. My god.
Degree.
Oh my god, I keep accidentally turning this down.
I gotta admit, I really love my cute stepsister, even though she has horrible parents.
It's not, that would mean all my brothers and sisters are my step. No, if you're blood related, they're not your stepbrother or sister. That's your sister, mate. Bonus story.
Hey, I'm Peter, and I recently changed schools because my dad found a job in a different city.
We get a bonus
I suffer
story.
from social anxiety, so the idea of making new friends petrified me. But it got worse. My new school based 50% of their grades on oral participation. Before, I had always been an honor student with top grades all my life, because I wanted to go to an elite university someday. But there was no way I'd be able to talk in front of my class. And because I didn't want to become one of the bad students, I came up with a plan. On my first day at my new school, I took in a letter which read, "I'm Peter."
This isn't even, like, disgusting.
Several problems with my hearing. I gave it to the teacher.
Yeah, that's... Teacher got me... For fuck's sakes. Abandoned because pregnant at 14. My horrible... your parents can't legally abandon you. Yeah, that's true. Or just like a minute later. Alright, let's which one? Teacher got me pregnant or abandoned pregnant at 14?
I think I saw Teacher Got Pregnant. We should watch that one together.
Alright.
Have you ever done something truly evil and destroyed someone's whole life?
No.
Well, I have. I was 19 and about to graduate from high school. But then my math teacher, Mr. Cumberbatch, told me I'd failed his class and would have...
Me and my friends drunk some, bleach? Like a small, like, cup? Like not one of those big cups, like one of those medicine things. Don't know how I'm alive. But I'm pretty sure he coughed out blood and is dead. I don't know.
Why?
Well, he fucking told me to do it, so, he drank a fucking gallon of bleach.
He's dead, right? He's not alive.
He's dead. I heard him fucking choke and die in the PS4 party.
Jesus! Why is this funny, Derek?
I don't know. So am I. Why am I alive? Wait. I think I might have drunken, like, water. I think I just fucked this man's entire career.
Hey, I'll drink a small shot glass of bleach if you drink a gallon. Haha, Lamau. I think I'm just gonna drink water. Don't worry, guys. He won't actually drink bleach. Fucking dies over the PS4 party.
I'm not too sure if this
I feel like you're admitting to homicide right now.
probably am. I'm not too sure.
to repeat the year.
Didn't drink bleach, though.
I was devastated because I had already made plans to go to college.
Well,
So
guess
I
what?
started
Bitch, you're
crying
dumb.
and begged him to show mercy and let me pass. But he said no and shook his head. In a last attempt, I gave him a big hug and said, "Please, Mr.
And then I got a rocking boner and fucked my student.
Cumberbatch, isn't there anything I can do?" He pushed me away and said, "No, it's too late now." But I showed persistence and kept begging him.
So she got on her knees and he was like, this is getting harder.
Oh no, Mr. Pickle's getting hard.
Ah.
I'm saying, Please, 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 Mr. Cumberbatch, isn't there anything I can do for you? Finally, he had a change of heart and wrote down an address on a paper and said, "Okay, come here on Saturday, 6 p.m.
That's how you know you're about to get dicked by your teacher. She got straight A's.
We will do some math exercises, and if you...
She got hundreds on some tests. When me and the boys coming back from the hospital after we get 100% on our STD tests.
You do well, I will change your grade and let you pass. I gave him one last hug and said, "Thank you, Mr. Cumberbatch, you are the best." When Saturday arrived, I was very nervous. I didn't know if I was going on a date or if I was getting a private math lesson. But just to be sure, I dressed myself up. I put on my old school uniform, but made a few changes to look as exciting as possible.
Okay, so she basically has her old school uniform. On buttons the top of the shirt, so the top of her titties, and on buttons the bottom of her shirt a little bit, so we can see some of her stomach.
When I arrived at his house, he opened the door and said, "Come in, you're looking gorgeous today." I responded with, "Thank you, Mr. Cumberbatch, you're looking good too." We sat down at a desk and he told me to solve some math problems, but I couldn't focus. Mr. Cumberbatch was so close to me and I realized how attractive he was. I mean,
For fuck's sakes, I'm done. I'm ending the stream. I can't do this anymore. I can't. This is just getting too much for me.
I wanna rip my organs out.
Same.
But let's do this.
Fuck's sakes. Alright.
We need to keep
I was 19 and he was only 10 years older than me. What turned me on...
a decade.
He was only 49, so it was right.
Oh, he's only 49, and I'm 4 years old.
Maybe I should smash.
Most was the authority he had over me. He could decide whether I would pass the year or repeat it. At one point, I just stared into his eyes and hoped he would kiss me, but I guess he was too nervous.
I think I gotta go eat supper soon.
So instead, I kissed him, and he liked it. Kissing my high school teacher wasn't technically illegal, but we still broke the rules of our school. A teacher-student relationship was strictly prohibited, but that's what made it so exciting. When we said goodbye to each other, I asked him if I had studied enough to pass the year, and he said, "You have worked very hard today, and therefore I will let you pass." I said,
Done.
"Thank you, Mr.
I gotta eat supper soon, and I'm finished with this.
Okay.
I'm just gonna end the broadcast. This is... The broadcast won't end. This is on air. Stop. End. Please. My God. This is like fucking terrible. Yeah. Broadcast settings. I said broadcast settings.